What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. And in this video, I want to speak to you on the best way to mix your sound on stage. So here we go. All right, so we use an in-ear monitor system, and basically what this means is that everything that we hear on stage is only through in-ears. We don't have floor monitors that we use as a reference. We don't have side fills, but we have in-ears, and this is honestly the best way to play live right now. It provides privacy, it provides safety, and it cleans up a lot of the echo and sometimes just bouncing off the walls that happens when you have too many monitors, or maybe you're sharing a monitor with a guitarist. So that's one way to do it, but in-ear monitors is the way to go. So the way this works is that we have an engineer, a monitor engineer with a console, and he's sending all the audio to us musicians who we use what's called an Avium. It's basically a small board where we can control individually the volumes of all the instruments on stage. So I can control the volume of my drums, of the guitarists. I can control the volume of the bass, the singers, the brass. I can control all that individually the way I like it. Even the click and the cues are there, and it's so custom. You can customize it to the way that you like and the way that you want to hear yourself. So the way this works is that there is a monitor engineer on stage, and it is through his board, through his sound console, that we receive audio to a smaller board. This smaller board is called an Avium, at least that's the system that we use. And in this Avium, you are able to control the volumes and the levels of everyone on the team individually. On our Aviums, we can control the levels of the click, the drums, guitars, bass, vocals, brass, even preachers or speakers, and even the voice of the MD, the music director. So this is super important, and it's great because everyone is able to build their own custom mix the way they like it. Now, my tip is to always kind of have your master volume at about 12 o'clock, which is right in the center, and then from there try to build your mix, because sometimes if you have the master too low, you're not going to be able to hear everything, even if you have the individual levels at the max. So I recommend kind of starting at 12 p.m. You might need a little more depending on the headphones that you have or the in-ears that you use, or you might need a little less. And so that's kind of a good reference point on how to start building your own mix. So what do you want your mix to sound like? Well, this is kind of my tip and what I usually tell other musicians. I like to hear the band on stage similar to how I like to hear music when I'm in my car or when I'm listening through my AirPods. I like to hear the music at a certain level, but I also like to hear everything pretty evenly. Nothing is really sticking out as much except my own instrument. So usually I'll kind of make sure everything is even. I'll pan things to the left and right. If I have two guitars, I'll pan one guitar to the right, one guitar to the left. You are able to do that with the system that we have. I also do that with the brass. I'm able to open them up. All that helps my ears, and it helps my brain kind of register where the instruments are at. So what I like to do is I like to have everything pretty evenly, with the exception of my instrument, which is slightly above everything else, maybe a couple of dBs. So that's good because I'm kind of always aware of what the team is doing. One of the problems that I've found a lot of musicians have is if they have their instrument way too loud, or they just have kind of really present their instrument and maybe the lead, and they don't feel the rest of the band, they're gonna end up overplaying, or they're gonna end up clashing with somebody at one point. If that's you, you're not gonna feel the support of maybe a drummer or a bass, something that kind of gives the band more body, just because your balance, your mix is out of whack. Your mix is a little bit unbalanced. So try to keep it as even as possible. Make sure that, sometimes as I play live, I like to mute an instrument, and if I hear that, it's not really having an impact in my mix, I'll put it up a little more, or vice versa. I'll try to mute something and I'll see, man, if that cleaned up my mix a lot, it's because I need to bring it down. So that's important things to note as well. And lastly, one important thing to note is that all the musicians' AVMs are interconnected, meaning that yes, you're able to make your own custom mix, but should you ever need more of something, sometimes, a different guitarist will plug in and their volumes are a lot lower than the other guitarists, and you try to put them up all the way to the max and you still can't hear them. Well, that would be a reason to kind of ask your engineer, hey, we need more of this instrument, or I need more of my keys. However, it's very rare that that happens, but it's important to note that because they're all interconnected, if the engineer manipulates or touches anything, it affects everybody. So that's an important thing to note, because sometimes it will happen, but the main goal is for you to try to make your custom mix as best as possible through the AVM. So I hope all these tips help, and of course, should you have any questions, I'm here to answer them for you.